There are 123 fraternities with 9 million members total. My purpose today is to inform you about some of the arguments associated with abolishing fraternities and sororities. Because I'm concerned about the effects of fraternities and sororities on our current college students, I've conducted research and arguments that explain why people oppose and support fraternities and sororities. Some of you may have heard about the negative and positive aspects of fraternities and sororities in media outlets, or maybe both. After today, you will have enough info to make up your mind about what you think of the institutions. I will begin by discussing arguments associated with supporting the abolishment of fraternities and sororities, and conclude with the info about arguments associated with supporting the existence of sororities and fraternities. With our roadmap in place, let's begin with the arguments associated with supporting abolishing fraternities and sororities. There are two primary arguments to support abolishing fraternities and sororities. The first reason comes from the belief that there is a lack of diversity and inclusiveness. This belief comes in part from a 2021 student-run college journalism website, The Concordian, which stated, "Today there is inherent discrimination in the Greek community that deters minorities from joining." In a video that went viral in 2015, members of Sigma Alpha Epsilon at the University of Oklahoma were filmed singing a racist chant. In other words, there aren't a lot of people waiting to join these fraternities and sororities because they're being discouraged based on their race or ethnicity. They are essentially being excluded from these groups. The second reason comes from the belief that fraternities and sororities are greatly associated with sexual assaults. According to the Students for Social Change organization, women in sororities are 74% more likely to experience sexual assault on a college campus than women who are not involved in Greek life. Fraternities men are 3 times more likely to commit rape than their non-Greek person. A specific case at the University of Oregon demonstrated that 40% of sorority sisters on their campus had been subjected to rape or attempted rape during their college years. In other words, by being in a fraternity or sorority, your chances of being a perpetrator for sexual assault or victim of it increases dramatically versus if you weren't involved in these groups at all. While there's reasons like a lack of diversity and high risk of sexual assault to discourage joining fraternities and sororities, let's look at the examples that support the existence of them. There are 2 primary arguments that are associated with abolishing fraternities and sororities. The first reason comes from the belief of making connections and networking. According to the organization called the National Society for High School Scholars, they claim sororities and fraternities often provide opportunities for alumni to stay connected with the on-campus community, which will give you the chance to network with people in your chosen field. The Greek life connection is usually a strong one, and alums might be more willing to give you tips or help you get an internship with their company. In other words, by joining fraternities and sororities, one can meet new people and gain new lifelong connections and friends. The second reason comes from the belief that philanthropy leads to success. According to the organization by The Best Schools, the Creators TBF staffs state, many chapters even have leadership positions dedicated to this aspect of Greek life. Members in charge of service initiatives will delegate responsibilities, log the hours contributed by each member, and coordinate service events and fundraisers. In other words, by joining fraternities and sororities, members will become more active community members by participating in events to help others out and essentially become more selfless individuals. In conclusion, although we learned both sides of the argument about whether fraternities and sororities should be abolished, you can now decide yourself what to do with that info. Let's review what we've learned today. So finally, we learned about arguments that support abolishing fraternities and sororities. A lack of diversity and high sexual assault cases associated with fraternities and sororities are a summary of what was discussed in subpoint 1. Furthermore, we learned about the arguments that don't support abolishing fraternities and sororities. Networking and making connections in philanthropy are the second reasons that summarized this point. Although there is controversy over the info about fraternities and sororities, let's think of the material from both sides to make an informed decision.